This video is sponsored by iFixit. I paid $224 for a PS4 Pro Death Stranding edition, but before I get it unboxed, let's take a look at the listing so you can see what I got. So this is the listing, PlayStation 4 Pro Death Stranding, PS4 Pro for parts or not working with box. These are the photos. No obvious damage from the photos. So the only thing the description mentions is that these are being sold as is and are salvage grade. It doesn't say what's wrong with it or anything like that. So I'm gonna get it unboxed and plug it in and see what's wrong. So the first interesting thing is that it has a Best Buy inspected by sticker. That means that most likely they bought this from a Best Buy salvage auction, and this is probably one that didn't work, or maybe they bought it from a customer returns pallet and this one didn't work. So let's get it opened up and see what's wrong. And here is the console. And there is no controller with this console. I knew that in the auction, but it's always fun to hope that they'll throw it in anyways. So let's take a look at the condition. It looks like this has not been opened up before. The screw is missing and the hard drive is missing. Don't think it said that in the auction. That's kind of annoying. I might need to contact them about that. So just looking at it, I don't see any problems. Buttons seem to work. So I'm gonna first get it plugged in, see if there are any obvious problems, and then we'll get it taken apart. So it actually just came on once I had it plugged in, which is kind of weird. This drive makes noise. Let's see if it ever shows up on the TV. Also, let's see if this light ever turns to white. So far, this is not good news. We've got a blue light that's just flashing. That's what's known as a blue light of death. Every once in a while, that can be caused by a hard drive not being in the console. So I'm gonna try and put the hard drive in and see if that fixes it. Hard drive is in. And for some reason, it just comes on by itself. The power button doesn't even seem to work, so I will have to check that out. Let's see if anything comes up on the screen now. Well, that's not good news. It's still not coming on, still has a flashing blue light. So now I'm gonna take it apart and see if there's anything inside that we can fix. Maybe there's some liquid damage or some other damage we can see. So now it's time for everyone's favorite part. Let's take it apart. And so far, just no signs of any problems at all. I was hoping to find something, but I don't see anything yet. Let's take it all the way down to the motherboard and just see if we happen to be able to find something that will get this thing working. The unfortunate thing is with the blue light of death, a lot of times it is the APU chip or the solder joints below it. And if that's the case, then this one's not gonna be fixable. I'm using my iFix driver out of the iFixit ProTech toolkit, along with a Torx T9 security bit. I'm gonna remove this power supply from the motherboard, and it's super important if you're gonna try this to pull on just the connector part, not the part that connects to the motherboard. Right where my pliers are, I'm gonna wiggle it while I pull up, and there we go. That is the part you pull on to remove the power supply plug without removing the connector from the motherboard. And now we have the motherboard loose. Let's turn it over and take a look and see if there's any obvious problems. Unfortunately, just as I suspected, I don't see any obvious problems. So most likely there's a problem with this big APU chip. And unfortunately, that's not something you can replace. There are some people who reflow it or take it off and put new solder balls on, but even that doesn't always fix it. And so in my opinion, in most cases, it's not really worth the time. So unfortunately, this special edition PS4 Pro is definitely not an easy fix, but I have an idea. This is my idea. So I have this other motherboard that actually came out of a insect-infested PS4 Pro. It had cockroaches in it. I'll give you some close-ups of what the motherboard looks like. And it's absolutely disgusting, and I don't want to clean out the entire console. So this one is a good working motherboard, and I'm gonna put this into this nice and clean console. So this motherboard has cockroach feces and pieces all over it, mostly on the top side. So I'm gonna go through with a toothbrush and some isopropyl alcohol and get all of that nastiness taken off. I will be putting on some gloves while I do that, and then once that's done, we'll get it installed into this clean console. As I said, this motherboard came out of a insect-infested PS4 Pro. Rather than going through the entire PS4 Pro, including the power supply and the disk drive and the whole frame and just super cleaning that entire thing, I decided that it would be better to remove the motherboard and just clean up the motherboard to put it into this really nice looking special edition PS4 Pro. Now the cleaning that I'm doing here isn't gonna remove everything off of the motherboard, but it'll get the vast majority, and anything left on the board will have been cleaned several times with isopropyl alcohol, which will kill any germs if there was any on the motherboard. Now the replacement motherboard is almost completely clean. There's a few spots that probably aren't perfect, but overall it is pretty good. So now I'm gonna get this put into the PS4 Pro, and then we'll see if it all works. Nope. There we go. The perfect amount of thermal paste. Now that I've got the perfect amount of thermal paste on the APU, I can put it back into the console. Okay, I can't go any longer having this nasty sticky stuff on here, so I'm gonna clean that off first. Then we'll get this thing started up and see if it works. Much better. Now I'm gonna plug it in and see if we got it working. Power's on. Do we have display? Okay, good so far. I do need to test a disk in it and get it all set up and see if the disk drive works. And now it's all set up, let's see if it'll play a disk. Okay, it takes it in. Let's see if it comes up on the screen. We've got the disk icon over here. And now we have it up on the screen. So this special edition PS4 Pro is working great. Even though the repair wasn't necessarily the most practical repair, we did get it working. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to iFixit for sponsoring this video. If you're looking to get a discount on your repair tools, go to ifixit.com/TronicsFix for $10 off your order of $50 or more. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a good one.